let me ask you a question? Hey man, I'm trying to eat this cookie, so if you would hurry up please, I really appreciate it. So, hypothetically, let's say I were to have put the car in neutral and pushed it down the hill, how mad would you be?
You what? How did you even do that?
Did you just ask me how? I thought you would have been more concerned about how the car smashed into the neighbor's dog, but we can talk about how, come on.
The car did what?
Hi, class. I'm your professor, Jakai, and I'm going to be telling you all about the 3 laws of motions from Sir Isaac Newton himself. Now, as you may or may not have heard, I might have sent the car twirling down here towards a little tiny puppy, maybe severely injuring it. But in doing so, I have made a great example of Sir Isaac Newton's first law of motion.
And what law is that, kids?
I'm so glad you asked.
What are you talking about? Nobody asked.
What happened to the Any object in a state of motion shall stay in that state of motion unless acted upon by an outside force, which basically means if you roll a ball down a hill, it will continue rolling down a hill until it is acted on by an outside force. If you put a glass on the table, it will remain stationary on that table until you knock the glass over, you being the outside force. Now, to give an example, let's say this right here is the dog I may or may not have ran over. And this right here is the car that is rolling down a barreling hill. Uh-oh, doggy gone, but car stopped. I wonder why. That would be inertia. But we don't have time to talk about inertia today. That'll be another topic. Now on to Newton's second law.
Oh my god, I just went out to sell a dog. It's whimpering and it's like,
Shut up! Newton's second law of motion states that acceleration is produced when an unbalanced force acts on an object or mass. The more mass an object has, the more net force has to be used to move it. So let's say this cup has wheels, right? You put it on the table and you were to give it the same amount of force as it would if it was empty rather than it was full. The cup would travel farther with an empty cup rather than a full cup based upon how much force you apply to it. Force equals mass times acceleration, which is basically nerd knowledge for saying heavier pushes get things farther. In other words, to get the wagon to accelerate, you need to apply a pull or force. Here's another example. Let's say you have a wagon and there's one person in it. To get the wagon to accelerate, you need to apply a pull or a force. If the mass of a wagon increases, a greater pull is necessary to accelerate it. Newton's third law. So you quiet now?
The dog's owners are here. They can smell the gas on your forehead.
Newton's third law. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. So let's say I did not just shoot and kill my roommate right here. Let's just say that didn't happen. So, hypothetically, if I were to have shot and killed my roommate here, who is perfectly alive and well on the floor, say hi, Dave. Yeah, there. See, look, he just doesn't want to show his face. But let's say I were to have shot and killed him. The opposite reaction would be for the police to come and arrest me. And those sirens you hear would be correct responses to the action I displayed upon my roommate. Here's another example of the third law. When you jump, you apply force to the ground, and the ground applies an equal and opposite reaction force that propels you up into the air. A lot safer than shooting your friend, isn't it? Like when the gun recoils from the bullet firing out. Action, reaction. Now, for all 3 of these laws, we can get into so many things like wedges and levers and friction, but I don't think we have time for that today. I have to run from the police. Bye. Thank you guys all for coming. I hope we can learn together once again. I know my roommate would love that choice, wouldn't you? Okay, kids. Bye now. I have to go run from the police. See ya. You'll never catch me alive.
The dog's owners are here. They want to press charges.
I never got to eat my cookie.
The dog's
dogs owners are here. They can smell the guilt on your forehead.
No! I just went out and saw the dog. There's so much blood. I don't know why.
Oh my god, you killed the dog. It's whimpering on my ears going. Oh my god, help the dog. Somebody help the little doggy.